President Trump just unveiled his new tariff plan, and it is much stronger than what was originally anticipated. So you bet it is going to shake up the global economy, and it's probably going to shake up the stock market as well. The White House is calling this new tariff plan, quote, "Make America Wealthy Again." And President Trump has announced these reciprocal tariffs on 60 countries. And the way it's going to work is it is a baseline 10% tariff, but it can go a lot higher depending on how much these foreign countries are charging the United States. Let me read you directly what Trump said, and I'll break it down for you. President Trump said, quote, "We will charge them," these foreign countries, "approximately half of what they are and have been charging us." So what does that mean? Let's go directly to the White House statement. The White House says that China is charging a 67% tariff on goods from the United States. So the United States will place a 34% tariff on Chinese goods. Vietnam has been charging a 90% tariff on goods from the United States. So the United States will charge a 46% tariff on Vietnamese goods. Sri Lanka has been charging an 88% tariff on goods from the United States. So the United States will charge a 44% tariff back onto Sri Lanka. Now, here's the tricky part, and the part that has a little bit of uncertainty. This tariff amount that is being disclosed by the United States is based off of the tariff, but also currency manipulation and trade barriers. What does that exactly mean? Well, there's no clear answer. So based off of what the United States says are the trade barriers and currency manipulation, that's what the United States says is the tariffs that these countries are placing on us. So the United States is responding with very strong tariffs. And this is what President Trump says is going to now unleash, quote, "the golden age of America," which he says is going to bring back more jobs, more manufacturing, and bring in a new age of, quote, "domestic prosperity." So if you are actually investing your money, you have to learn to stay calm, cut through the noise, and find the opportunity, because a lot of things are going to be changing with tariffs. And a lot of tariffs are going to be changing over the next few days. I don't know how it's going to play out, but I'll be keeping you posted here. And we'll also be keeping you posted on market briefs. And with that, I will see you on YouTube tomorrow.
Good morning, everybody. Thank you for joining me for the aftermath of Liberation Day. So today's topic is one of the wildest markets that I've seen in a while. President Trump just dropped tariffs on 185 countries at the same time. Yes, you heard that right, 185 countries. This move could shape global trade, the U.S. economy, and your investment portfolio in a big way. Let me walk you through what happened, what it means, and what to expect going forward. Let's get into it. So I am recording this the morning after, and this is what the market looks like. It is a sea of red, you guys. Here's a live chart. So the market ended at 4 o'clock right here at about 565, and this is the S&P 500. Look at what it's doing in after hours in the gray line down here. It's getting absolutely decimated. Hopefully things change by the time this video comes out. So let's get back to the facts. So earlier today, the Wall Street Journal reported that the United States would impose a 10% tariff on all countries, every single country. So markets shrugged it off. Futures actually moved up 2% if you guys were following the market yesterday, but that did not last long. At 4:26 p.m. Eastern Time, President Trump took the stage and picked up a poster. Yes, a literal poster, which we can see right here. And he started listing these tariff countries name by name. Check this clip out.
So if you look at that, China, first row, China, 67%. That's tariffs charged to the USA, including currency manipulation and trade barriers. So 67%, I think you can, for the most part, see it. Those with good eyes, with bad eyes. We didn't want to bring, it's very windy out here. We didn't want to bring out the big charts because it had no chance of standing.
On a day known as Liberation Day, President Donald Trump just dropped a bomb.
Carnage on Wall Street.
Markets falling, tumbling.
Stocks plunging. Down, down, down. The Nasdaq's getting crushed. Small caps are getting crushed.
This is a shock to the system.
It is ugly out there. Worse than worst case scenario.
Stocks are getting slashed and burned. $2.5 trillion vaporized.
It is estimated that the average American family will pay more than $5,000 out of their pocket to pay for these tariffs.
Economic tariffs on the entire world. the US officially launched one of the most aggressive trade policies in modern history, putting a 10% tariff on all imports across the board. China got hit with 34%, Vietnam 46%, even the European Union is facing a 20% tariff. Now the message is clear. America wants to bring production home, secure its supply chains, and assert its dominance. Now the people who support this say, this is needed to protect national security and rebuild American industries. But critics argue that we should get ready to pay higher prices, trade wars, and global economic fallout. But there might also be a twist ending to this story. Now these tariffs could be deflationary, and they could cause the US economy to slow down enough to force the Fed to lower interest rates and rescue the economy, which would allow the US to refinance its debt and send the markets to the moon. Now, all of this sounds kind of crazy. There's a lot of fear and confusion out there, and I want to help explain how this will reshape everything from your portfolio to the future of the global monetary system. So here's what's going on and how this will affect you. Let's get into it. We might disagree on how to fix something, but as long as our goal is mutual, which is to fix something, then we should give each other the benefit of the doubt. And it's okay to be critical, which is why I explained that the tariff numbers made very little sense. It seems like they're confusing trade deficits with tariffs. But I also explained how this might also be part of a bigger strategy, maybe one that's more long-term. And maybe that's why Mr. Trump calls this Liberation Day, not just because it punishes other countries, but because it resets the system. It's like medicine or surgery, painful in the short term, but potentially healing in the long term. Ultimately though, no one knows, besides Mr. Trump, how long this pain might last. But if you want to go deeper with how these tariffs might affect your stock portfolios or crypto and how I'm investing, check out the last video somewhere up here, which explains all of that. But ultimately the lesson is, stay invested and you'll probably do just fine. In the meantime, I'd love to hear your thoughts. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. Smash the like button, subscribe if you haven't already. I'd love to see you back here next week. I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.
You can't really watch the stock market. There'll be a little disturbance. We're okay with that.
Lots of people selling off on the market.
You can see it right there on your screen.
Let the deal maker make his deals.
This is just the beginning.
What's up, Graham? It's Guys here, and all hell is officially broken loose. For those unaware, we have just witnessed the largest single-day stock market point drop ever in history, all because of a term that sends chills down every investor's spine.
Reciprocal tariffs.
That's right. Without exaggeration, tariffs are now the highest they have ever been since the early 1800s. And beginning today, they are single-handedly changing the entire landscape of our economy, from the value of the US dollar, potential trade wars, and a worldwide fallout. In fact, the situation has gotten so bad that some headlines are drawing eerily similar comparisons to that of the 1929 Great Depression. So with nearly everything significantly falling, with the exception of Warren Buffett's cash pile, let's discuss exactly what's happening, what this means for you, the impact this is about to have on pretty much everything, and then finally, how you could use this information to profit. Because I'm not gonna lie, this might wind up being a very difficult next few months. And Mexico makes a hammer for $2 and sells it in the US for $4. If you made the same hammer in the US, it'll cost $6. So no hammers are made. In response to that, the US puts a 300% tariff on hammers, so Mexican hammers now cost $8. This allows the United States to compete and sell its own hammer for $8, thereby making a profit. But now, the US consumer pays $8 for a hammer instead of $4. Now sure, lastly, some colleagues of mine are working on a free budgeting software that's meant to replace the likes of Mint.com. So if that sounds interesting to you and you want to be a beta user of it, I'll link to it down below in the description so that when it launches, you can be one of the first people to try it out and share your feedback. So that's it. Thank you so much, and until next time.
All right.